Who could know, back in the early 1970s, that what started in a small brick building in Beaver Creek, Ohio, would emerge as an innovative powerhouse in the technology world. The company evolved to be called Lexis Nexis and would go on to impact the world in powerful ways. From its humble beginnings, this company and its people set the world on a path that led to the information age. Join us for conversations that reveal how this amazing organization evolved and grew.
Well, Bert, you remind me of something. My first job title when I joined in March of 1985 was CPE specialist.
Right.
I don't know if you remember that acronym, but
I do.
Yeah. So tell our listeners a little bit about this.
That was the customer provided equipment.
Yeah.
During this
will change for us.
Right. Also known as GFE, government furnished equipment. When I was talking to government customers, and basically, it was a way for subscribers finally to get away from being required to have this Mead Data Central equipment to access our services. And so, I was given the challenge by, at that time, it was Paul Nezzi, Paul was the VP of marketing.
Yeah. I think they called us worldwide sales at that point. Was our local title.
It might have been.
Anyway,
so Paul gave me the challenge to create the marketing package to help our sales reps and customer reps to teach users how to use Lexis with this customer furnished equipment. So it would be data terminals and personal computers as the IBM PC rolled out, and then other things. And so it was rough. Going through that period was hard. And of course, we needed people who understood the language and understood the technology to be able to help our customers actually make the transition. Bob McConnell, who had done incredible ththings with the technology and building the first Lexis terminals and building the standard terminal and building a Ubix, but of course Bob is an absolute technical wizard when it comes down to understanding or designing any of this stuff.
Right.
So he helped us, and then Keith and I guess Hunter had Hunter Grant had the tech support group, TSG.
He called it the Tiger Team when he joined us.
Yeah, the Tiger Team.
That's right.
And so we had I don't know, there were like 5 or 6 of you.
Yeah.
In the earliest incarnation, to be able to go around and ensure that we could actually make the communications connection in the law firms. And typically it would be like with a large law firm, how do you interface with their communication system to enable, whatever equipment they were going to use, PCs or data terminals or what was the old word processing machines,
like the Wang BS.
Oh my God!
All the corporations. Yeah.
All that kind of stuff.
DEC and Wang, and those were all big time in play in law firms, especially.
Yeah.
So, Terry, they thought it was a miracle when we would sit down with them, and Bob McConnell literally on my first day taught me. I was really kind of daunted by, I'm going to walk into these organizations and they're going to say, how do I get Lexis on my system? And Bob says, there's just like 5 things you have to remember, Keith. And I remembered what those 5 things were. And I'd walk in and I'd say, "Can I just speak with your technology person first?" And I'd make sure no one else was in the room. And I'd say, "Okay, man, show me how to show me your setup screen." And I'd go 7 data bits, 1 stop bit, even parity, the things Bob taught me.
Oh God.
We put them all in. And then I'd say, "Here's this number to call," and they'd call it, and it would say, "Welcome to Lexis." And then we'd bring in the sales rep and the lawyers, and they'd go, "You guys are geniuses." Like, yeah, we're geniuses.
And you were.
I remember those 5 things.
Yeah.
So Mert, I mean, there's 1,000 things we could hit on. We're hitting our hour mark on this podcast, and I think we probably want to come back and hit it again. But there is one question I have for you, because we're going to hit Jack up with this on our next round of conversation with Jack. Remember the big green spike, the big dip, the hyper channel dip, where the system would crash? How did you guys in marketing and sales handle that?
We just kept going forward. What you're talking about is what we had been accustomed to operating at, like a 99.5% reliability.
Yeah.
We dropped to about 95%, and all hell broke loose. And it was 1985, and it was a huge calamity for us. It was a great bonanza for Westlaw,
right?
Because it was almost like inviting your competitor in, to demonstrate that they weren't as, unreliable as you were. Now, at 95% is pretty good, but not if you're in the middle of the night trying to do some urgent legal research and it goes blank. So
Well, the thing I remember, and you guys can maybe chime in a little bit, is back when that started happening, they weren't exactly sure what was causing it. And they knew it was a hyper channel, but people were making changes during the day. We were pulling out telecom equipment during the day. All that stopped.
Jack,
you couldn't make a thing, couldn't make a change unless you went to Dennis Redeker's change control and told them what you're going to do, why you're going to do it. And, it was like, if you made a mistake, you're dead, and you didn't want to make a change.
What I remember is that Jack, told Dennis Redeker, get over there and find out what the problem is and get it fixed.
Yeah.
And that was Jack. Get it fixed. One day early on, after Jack had joined us, and we were in the men's room, and I'm grousing about, things are going so fast, Jack, it's hard to keep up with all this stuff. Jack just turns to me and says, "Build staff and delegate." That's it. And he left. Build staff and delegate. That's it.
Very wise.
It was great. He was absolutely correct. But anyway, we just powered on. He told Dennis, Dennis told me later that Jack had told him fix it. And what Dennis told me later on was he discovered that what was happening, we were making multiple changes simultaneously into the system. And as soon as he understood that, then they completely changed the update methodology. You're probably more familiar with it than I am, Terry.
Oh no, we would be before that. We would be pulling cables in the middle of the day and hit an off switch. Nothing happened after that. We were locked down till Saturday night.
Yeah. So I don't know how long it took us to get back to our prior level of reliability. It was pretty fast, but the damage had been done. It had gone on for several months before we got hold of the situation, and went on from there. So anyway.
So Mert, we've covered a lot of ground today. From the Supreme Court hiring to messing with acoustic couplers up through hyper channels going down. and all level of things in between. The reality, though, is Terry and our listeners today, we're looking at and talking to somebody that was one of the most critical players in the development and growth of Lexis Nexis. And he was much more than that original marketing rep who raced around the northeastern U.S. and then more broadly and sold Lexus. He did a lot more from the standpoint of leadership and development of our professionals and making sure that we had the training and the hardware and other types of tools we needed to do our jobs well. And for that, all of us are forever grateful. I used to have a thing in my office that I literally, I no offense to Jesus, but my thing was, what would Mert do? When I was in a job similar to the job that Mert held, I thought many times, what would he do if he were here?
That's a scary thought, Keith.
Yeah, well, I mean it though. I do mean
I appreciate it.
A true professional, an incredible leader, and we're thankful, and the whole companies should be thankful that you were a big part of it. So thank you for what you've done today, and we certainly are reserving the right to come back and ask you some more questions in future editions.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much, folks. We'll be back. We'll edit this down into a few segments, and we'll put those up on Facebook for you. All right, guys.
Alrighty.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, both of you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.